Welcome to Stay Alive and Fit with Liz Goodman, a new innovative radio show that taps into what's happening now in the medical industry, featuring fitness experts, foodies, and medical professionals. Get it right here and be an active participant in your health. Mixed messages about what is best for your health can make you feel like you're on a runaway train. So hop on and have some fun while Liz navigates this medical mystery ride. Call 888-565-1470 and ask Liz, your source for the latest medical technology and long life advice. All aboard. Here's Liz Goodman.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Stay Alive and Fit. This is our new night, Thursdays at 6, from 6 to 6:30. We might end up being on from 6 to 7. We're working that out still. I don't know if you can see in the background, I have my son here tonight if you're watching live. If you are watching live, the new place to watch us live is at www.stayaliveandfit.com. You can just hit the watch live link and you can see what's going on. If you want to call in and talk to us tonight, it's 888-565-1470. This month is all about children's health. We're going to be talking about everything to do with children's health. That's why I have my son here tonight. He's just coming with mom to work. You know, sometimes we have to do that when we're moms, when we're single moms especially. And I just thought, since he's here, he may as well sit down next to me and let everybody get an idea of who my boy is. Say hi, Tyler.
Hi.
Well, sometimes we'll be talking about topics that Tyler's a bit too young to understand. But tonight we're actually talking about a very interesting topic, which is, should I or should I not bank my umbilical cord? And, you know, when I gave birth to my son, he's 9 years old, 10 years ago, it was a very, very beginning time period where people were really talking about it a lot. It wasn't really being recommended by doctors. They really thought it was very gimmicky. Most people I knew didn't do it. They chose not to. But now, 10 years later, almost everybody I know is banking their umbilical cord. I have sisters that are doing it. All my friends are doing it. So I'm kind of curious why someone should do it, why someone shouldn't do it. And this show's going to be about a lot of different topics, but that is our topic of the evening because July happens to be, should I or should I not bank my umbilical cord, and all the things about it, which include stem cell research, how they can help you when you're a child as a baby, when they're 20, 30, 40, 50, whether you need to use your own cord blood or if you can use someone else's, cord blood. Tonight, our special guest is from the Center of Family and Child Enrichment, which is a private, nonprofit, community-based organization that's been servicing the North Miami area since 1977. It's Dr. Michelle Kerwin. She is sponsoring our program this evening because she wants everybody to know how important it is for children and family members who do not have access to medical care, dental, medical, any kind of care. They can come down to the Center for Family and Child Enrichment Center, which is located at 1825 Northwest 167th Street in Miami Gardens. The telephone number there again is 305-624-7450. And what's really great about this center is not only do they donate time and services to families in need and work with you to help you figure out how you can get medical insurance and medical help, but they actually also help place foster children and deal with orphaned children. So it's a really worthy cause. It's a private nonprofit, so you can donate to the cause if you'd like to. And right now I'm going to welcome Dr. Kerwin. And again, we're going to talk about the umbilical cord topic. But I'm just going to say a quick hello, and then we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and have a topic of discussion.
Sounds great. Hello, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So we're going to kick it to a commercial. I'm going to let my son leave the room because I know he's desperately trying to get back to his Game Boy or his iPad or whatever it is these kids do when mommies are at work. And stay tuned. We'll be right back with our evening's topic with Dr. Michelle Kerwin from the Center for Family and Child Enrichment.
Introducing VIP Event Production Group. New York, LA, and South Florida joined together to become the upcoming VIP Premier Event and Decor Production Company. We are an in-house, full-service, quality, social, and corporate design team with a combined 60 years experience. For your convenience, we have a complete showroom with floral, lighting, room draping, and dance floor wrapping designs. Our staff includes event coordinators, videographers, photographers, along with DJs and entertainment. To complement your event, we have an online website with promotional items and party favors. To book your event, call 888-727-8997 or go online to VIPProductionGroup.com. Live local? Have a fitness or health question? Ask Liz, and you just might be called to guest star on her next show. Experience what it's like to get VIP medical treatment live, in person, on the air. Email your health or fitness questions or suggestions to Liz at stayaliveandfit.com. Ask Liz on Facebook, follow her on Twitter, or post a photo to Instagram. And watch Stay Alive and Fit on amp2.tv or listen right here on WNN 1470.
Hi, and welcome back to Stay Alive and Stay Fit. Tonight, we are going to tap into what's happening now in the medical industry. Hi, again, I'm Liz, and ask me, and I'll find the answers you seek to all your fitness and medical questions. I'm not a doctor or a nurse, and the sight of blood makes me squeal, but I'm an ordinary gal trying to navigate through all the medical mysteries so that I can stay fit, focused, and fabulous. Whether you're 20 or 80, male or female, mixed messages about what's best for your health will make you feel like you're on a runaway train. So get on board and take a medical mystery ride with me, and we're going to stop at every station to find the answers you seek. You can call in at 888-565-1470 and participate. You can listen to us here on 1470 or watch us live on www.stayaliveandfit.com. You can email your questions to Liz at stayaliveandfit.com. And the really cool thing about our program each week is that we have different doctors talking about different topics. This month's topic is all about children's health and all the things that are necessary in order to, keep your child healthy. If you were listening at the beginning of the show, you would have seen my son was with me. A lot of families, don't have the money or the ability to keep their children in daycare or aftercare, and they have to take their child to work. So tonight, that's not necessarily the reason why I took my child to work. I just took him to work because I think he's adorable. And I thought you guys, you should meet him. You should see a little bit about who I am and what my family is. And I want to learn more, not only about how to keep myself fit, focused, and fabulous, but how to keep my child and my children. I actually have a daughter. She's not here with us tonight. Fit, focused, and fabulous. Tonight's special guest is Dr. Michelle Kerwin from the Center for Family and Child Enrichment. It's a nonprofit community-based organization. They deal with children that have been abused, neglected, or abandoned. They have severe emotional disturbances and need mental health care, children in the custody of parents or relatives who are chronic runaways or are ungovernable. And Dr. Kerwin helps to take care of these children. So if you want to donate to her center, it's really a wonderful place to donate to. They offer an array of behavioral health services for children and adolescents. But tonight, if you're expecting a baby, don't turn that dial, because you might not know what the right thing to do is with the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord blood, along with the many other ways you hope to make life safe for your child, is one of those things that's very confusing. Like, what do we do with it? Do we bank it? Do we not bank it? Do we hurt our child if we don't bank it? So the question of the evening is, should you store or should you donate your child's umbilical cord? So Dr. Kerwin, I know that you're a pediatrician and that umbilical cord is not necessarily your main focus area. I know you specialize mostly in obesity and child sexual, adolescent issues. But we did have a topic of conversation about this because it is what everybody's talking about in July. And I know you do have some strong opinions on the subject. So if you don't mind, just what do you feel? What do you think is the best solution for a parent to do?
I think if you read the literature, it actually does not recommend necessarily having to store the umbilical cord blood or bank it, rather. The belief is that if you have, or the thought is that if you have a child, an older child who has an illness, and then you're in the process, you're pregnant with another child, you could actually store that second child's blood to help in disease with the first child, in the illness of the first child. you can also donate cord blood to a public registry, and usually most kids who have an illness, or most people who have an illness, are able to find a match in the public registry, therefore negating the necessity or not taking away the necessity of banking your own cord blood or your child's cord blood. Really, the best match is your own blood, obviously, and that's why some parents will bank the cord blood. But if that child who has their banked cord blood has a genetic disease, it will not help that genetic disease, because that genetic disease still runs in those precursor cells that are banked. If the child has certain types of, like a brain cancer, and they won't help in those types of scenarios, that banked blood would not help. So the chances of having a child who needs that cord blood, or their own cord blood, are small, that they're going to have a significant illness. But my personal opinion is, and the opinion that you'll see when you read about it, is that if you have a second child, that can help a first child with an illness, with a cancer, certain types of cancer, or certain types of genetic diseases perhaps, then that second child's blood has about a 25% chance of being a match for the older sibling's child. And that seems to be the best place to use it, other than if you're going to donate just for public good, to the public registry, so that other children from other families can benefit from it.
So, I mean, I know that, the question is whether it's a gimmick. So clearly it's not a gimmick, because it can help people. But I know when I had my children, it was like $1,700 to bank this, and it was very expensive, and you have to pay for it throughout your lifetime. And it wasn't an expense that I chose to make. But I know my sisters and my cousins and my friends, they're all doing it. And from what I understand from what you're saying, if they banked their child's blood, it's cord blood, it's not actually going to help that child, but it could help a sibling. Now, could it also help a cousin? Or so, for instance, if something happened to one of my children, I could maybe use my sibling's cord blood. But
yes, possibly. It still has to be a biological match.
And then the question in that scenario is, how many times can you use that cord blood? Is it just like a one-shot deal, or is there enough stored there for a lifetime of use? I don't know how much is actually. I mean, the cells can regenerate and so on. So, once you store the blood, that blood is there for a lengthy period of time, and the likelihood is that whatever your illness is you're going to be able to treat that illness if you're a match with the amount of cord blood that is set aside, because once also you have precursor cells, you're going to make further cells as you're given that blood. So in your opinion, do you recommend this to your patients, or do you sort of say, listen, I'd rather you spend your money on other things right now? Or is this something you say every person should do it if you're having more than one child? No, it's not something that really generally comes up in my practice or in the population that I serve, because it is there's a financial barrier, so to speak, for many of my patients. So it's not something that I strongly push or strongly recommend. If you can afford it comfortably, $1,500 to $1,700 to store that blood, plus about $175 a year for the maintenance of that blood, and it's not a hindrance to your finances, then by all means, it's just an extra insurance policy. But for those parents, I don't want to scare those parents who cannot afford to store blood, because, the likelihood of your child needing it, developing a type of cancer or a genetic disease is rare, or is much, is not common. And then the chance of if your child does develop one of those types of diseases, that they can find a match in a public registry is very good. Oh, good. So, if you have the money, great. If you don't have the money, the likelihood is that you can still find a match. What we need to also talk about. I feel a little bit better and less guilty about not having done it then. So thanks for letting me know.
To piggyback on that, what we can encourage is that more people go out and donate. They donate blood. They become a bone marrow. They join the bone marrow registry to be a bone marrow donor should they need to. We especially need to encourage minority populations to go out and be donors, because that's where the registries are lacking, especially.
Okay, so I want to get into other topics now. I know that that was an important issue to discuss, especially because that's what the American Cancer Society and what everybody's recommending is the topic of the month. And we always want to keep up with what is topical. And this show is a topical show about medical importance and what's going on today. So with you, Dr. Kerwin, you are an interesting woman.
Thank you.
You have an interesting background.
Thank you.
And I would love, since you're one of our new sponsors on the show. Thank you to Dr. Kerwin. She was on the show a couple of months ago. She did a wonderful job. We got some great feedback, and now I made a promise to Dr. Kerwin that we can get her on the show and talk about all the wonderful things that her center does, but also talk about Dr. Kerwin and her passions. And so, how did you become a doctor? Like, what was the whole story behind you becoming a doctor? I know you come from a family of doctors, which is always, fun, I guess. I don't know what it's like at dinner at your table, if it's boring or exciting, but, just give me a little background about where you studied, what your passions are, what you are when you're not a doctor, what you do, for fun.
Okay. So I grew up. Well, I was born in Canada. My parents are West Indian, so I'm of West Indian descent. We moved to Tampa at some point in time, and then I went off to Washington University in St. Louis for undergrad, and then I completed my medical school at University of Miami and my residency at Jackson Memorial Hospital. So that's my training. I actually was a psychology major in undergrad and toyed between doing a PhD in psychology or going to medical school to do child and adolescent psychiatry. And my choice was to go to med school to do child and adolescent psychiatry. And when I got there, I realized I didn't like it. And here I am 3 years into medical school, and I'm like, I don't like this. And I sort of stumbled on pediatrics. It should have been a no-brainer because all through my life, really, from when I was a child, I always volunteered with kids younger than me. I would go into shelters. I would go into shelters for abused women and their children, Salvation Army, just different programs as a child. In high school, in college, I did the same thing. I would go to the inner city schools in East St. Louis, talk to the children about the issues that they faced. And then when I was in medical school, I did a lot of community service. I volunteered a lot of my time, especially working with kids. I was the national vice president for the Student National Medical Association, and my charge was community service. So that's just something I've always been passionate about, is serving the community, giving back, and especially working with children. So it really should have been a no-brainer that pediatrics would be my natural,
Right.
But I don't know, somehow the penny didn't drop. Penny didn't drop until I did a rotation with adults, and I realized that they're very complicated and tedious sometimes, and they've got a ton of surgeries and medicines and past medical history. And then when I went to pediatrics after that, my rotation, it was so simple. They had no history, no problems, and you could just get to what's going on today. And that kind of was a relief. And then I started to realize I love the children, working with the kids, as I always had. And it just became obvious slowly over time that this was where I should be. Not that I don't like working with the parents. I actually really love working with the parents, but in terms of their children and what's good for their children. And sometimes we're talking about what's good for the parent, because that is going to be what in the best interest of the child as well. So if a parent is in a bad situation, domestic violence, or a dad that is not paying child support or what have you, then it's still a topic that I am interested in talking about and helping the parents navigate, because of the interest of the child.
Okay, so let's get to know Dr. Kerwin. Let's get to know Michelle. So there's Dr. Kerwin, and then there's Michelle. So tell me a little bit about Michelle. Like, who is Michelle? Like, what do you do for fun? What is, when people are going to tune in to listen to you over the next couple of months, because you're going to come back periodically on and off during the next couple of months. And I know we're going to talk about your favorite topics, which are childhood obesity. And helping to stop that, and healthy food choices, and how children should eat. And also childhood sex education and adolescence and entering adolescence. Those are all topics we're going to talk about over the next couple months. But I want to know what makes Michelle tick. Do you have a boyfriend? I mean, you're beautiful. I'm sure lots of men who are listening to the show, if they were tuned in, they would certainly agree with me. What do you like to do?
Okay, so I'm not sure where
I'm
to
putting
start.
you on the spot, I know.
Where to start there?
But,
Let's start with the most important. Michelle is getting older and doesn't have a boyfriend, so let this be my public service announcement for,
you
for
hear
myself.
that, guys? Tune in, check her out on YouTube if you're not watching the show because you're driving. At YouTube, stayaliveandfit.com, and check out Dr. Kerwin. She is a beautiful, smart lady who's
you.
successful. So,
But
we're starting a matchmaking service now on the program.
so what makes me tick? One of the things that I love, I have played sports all of my life. So that is a huge part of my life. I love to work out. I love to sweat and just play a sport, volleyball. I'll play football. I'll play soccer. I'll run. Any sport. I absolutely love sports. I'm something of a tomboy at heart, really. When people see me, they see me dressed up and hair done and a dress and high heels. But I absolutely love to play sports or work out. That's one of my favorite things. Another favorite is the beach. It's pretty much the only place where I can go and truly just relax. I don't think about anything. I don't have to read, don't have to listen to music, don't need to talk to anybody. I don't know what I do. I kind of just zone out for hours when I go
Well,
to the beach.
ocean is a
It's-
great
yes,
opportunity
it's-
to do that.
That's
And it's
my peaceful place.
Yeah.
My gym is my stress relief. My beach is my peaceful place. And what do I love to do with my time? I love to travel. For many years, up until I started working at the Center for Family and Child Enrichment, just because we're really laying the groundwork and building, I've had a lot of work to do there. But for maybe 8 years prior to that, every year I would do 2 major trips, one to Trinidad every year for Carnival, and the second trip would be somewhere exotic in the world. So Thailand, South Africa, Europe, South America. I've all of the Caribbean. I've pretty much been.
have you ever done mission work? Because I know you
I
love to
have.
donate your time and do.
Yes, I have. I haven't done it in a while, and I was actually just having a conversation with a friend of mine that I want to get back to doing that. I haven't done a mission trip in a while. My favorite mission trip was to Haiti. This was prior to the earthquake. But wonderful, wonderful, wonderful trip.
Do you work as a doctor when you do mission trips?
Yes, yes. At that point, that trip, I was a student, a medical student, so I was helping the doctors. But yes, when you go, you can function as depending on the type of trip you go on. But yes, absolutely.
I mean, I really think that's an important thing to do is these mission trips. I have a neighbor whose both of her sons, do a mission trip every year. They go and build homes for Habitat. She's encouraging me that when my children get older, that we should make a point of doing that.
Yes.
I think it's fabulous. I mean, when it comes to being a parent and you're talking to children and pediatrics, and as they're entering adolescence, how do you think going and doing a mission trip might actually help them as they mature?
In so many different ways. I think, one, they learn to give of themselves, give of their time, and not be self-absorbed or self-focused on, what can I get from me? 2, it helps them realize what their life could be like living in another country that doesn't have the means that we might have here in the United States. And 3, they learn skills, people skills. They learn, Habitat for Humanity, building homes type skills, communication skills, and just compassion. And I think in this world, especially today, we need to learn compassion for other people who don't look like us, other people who don't believe like we believe, other people whose culture is different, whose color is different, whose language is different, whose food is different. We really need to start understanding that not everybody is the same, not everybody believes the same, and not everybody lives the same, and that it's okay. That's okay. And we can be of service and we can be of help to people that don't look like us or act like us or talk like us or, ain't believe like us. And I think, and I'm speaking to so many different, when you see the police shootings, when you see ISIS, when you see, I think and a mission trip may not solve all of that, but it can start to build compassion to see something different than what we see every day in the United States. And to say, wow, I'm blessed. Mom may not have bought me the latest Nike shoe or the latest, I don't know, Nintendo's probably gone, but Nintendo game, you know what I'm saying?
iPad,
But
Game
iPad,
Boy.
Game Boy, something you better know than me. But, I'm blessed because at least I have a roof over my head and socks and shoes on my feet when I go to school.
So we only have about 5 minutes left, and I'm going to circle back because based on your topic that, we're all the same, color, race, doesn't matter. It's true. I mean, we all bleed the same. We're all born the same. We all die the same. So, one way or the other, it's important to recognize that, especially like giving a cord blood or an umbilical cord blood and banking that's going to help somebody no matter what their color is, no matter what their race is, no matter what their poverty level or their wealth level is. If there's a sick child in need and they need access to that, banked blood, and you're capable of donating a portion of your child's blood, umbilical cord to a bank, that's also a wonderful thing to do. And if you want to donate to Dr. Kerwin's center, which is where she works, she's an employee there at the Center for Family and Child Enrichment, you can call them at 305-624-7450. That's 305-624-7450. If you'd like to like us on Facebook, you can go to stayaliveandfit.com on Facebook. You can email me questions for any future shows or any ideas or topics that you want to learn more about to liz@stayaliveandfit.com. We were formerly on Monday nights between 7 and 8. Now we've moved to 6 to 6:30, and we may eventually go from 6 to 7 p.m. I'm still working that out. But in the meantime, guys, I just want you to know that what we're going to be talking about for the next couple of months is pediatric health. We're going to talk about dental health, orthodontists. We're going to talk about obesity, various foods that you should give your children to eat to help keep them trim and slim and healthy and active. We're going to talk about sex health and sex education and when to begin talking to your children about sex education. We're going to let them know the best ways that they can discover their own bodies and have you answer those questions that maybe you're a little bit nervous about them asking, those old birds and bee topics. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Dr. Kerwin is a professional guidance counselor in those topics. Yes. Any quick tips, Dr. Kerwin?
Regarding which one of those?
Any one of them. Pick the topic of your choice.
Well, I guess a quick tip for obesity and just keeping your child trim, that it starts from very early in life, teaching your child what to eat, setting the example for them, remembering that it is a marathon, not a sprint. It is a lifestyle, not a diet. But early, start your child from youth, I'm talking about from infancy, 9 months old, 10 months old, drinking smoothies with vegetables and fruits in it. And, let them develop the taste for some of those things as a child, as a very, very young child, so that growing up, it becomes normal for them and that McDonald's is the outlier.
Okay, so we have 2 minutes left, and if you're able to come back next week or the week after, I definitely want to talk about the children's issue with obesity. And, I'm a parent, and my children are two totally different in weights, and they're different sized bodies, and they're different children, and one's athletic, and one is skinny, and one is, not chubby, but she's, stocky, and she's beautiful, but she's an athlete, and so one can eat anything and the other can't. So what do you have to do when you have two different children and one wants to eat something and the other one shouldn't eat that something? And how do you sort of talk to them about it? What it is that you can do to change their eating habits once they're already 9 and 10 years old, so that they can say, ooh, green is not weird, Mommy, green is good. Yes. All those things. So thank you so much to Dr. Kerwin. I look forward to having you back on the show again. Please email your questions to me at liz@stayaliveandfit.com. Hopefully we're going to get the answers you seek to all your medical questions. And that's pediatrics, it's heart health, it's stroke health, it's cancer, information, it's fitness facts, it's food facts, whatever it is that you want to know, just email me and I'll do my best to get the right doctor or professional or nutritionist on the show to get the answers to the topics that you want to know more about. Thank you so much for listening in. Until next week's folks, stay alive and fit, stay fit, focused, and fabulous. Later, guys.
You've been listening to Stay Alive and Fit with Liz Goodman, a new innovative radio show that taps into what's happening now in the medical industry, featuring fitness experts, foodies, and medical professionals. Get it right here and be an active participant in your health. Mixed messages about what is best for your health can make you feel like you're on a runaway train. Get ready to hop aboard again next time for Stay Alive and Fit with Liz Goodman. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management,